This is a special episode of What's Been Better called Breakthroughs. Breakthroughs are bonus episodes where Sylvia and I have conversations with individuals about their journey of overcoming and discovering their purpose.
Today, we're joined by Patrice, also known as Sway, a CEO, entrepreneur, and speaker here in Atlanta. Hey, Sway.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Yeah, what's up, Sway?
Good. What's going on, Lori?
I'm good. So I'm excited. I'm excited that you're here on our podcast, girl.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Okay.
And so we're going to get started. Sylvia, what's been better with you?
It's another Friday, and I made it to another Friday, and that's enough for me. That is just plenty.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask you. I think you know about what's been better, so I'm just gonna jump in there. What's been better?
Okay. Cool. What's been better? I'm staying consistent with my fitness goals, so I'm getting better and better every week with that. And business is going well, so that's been
Awesome.
better for the most part. So
good.
Okay.
Lori, what's been better for you?
So I have my little highs and lows, and sometimes my thinking can dip and become negative, and so I've been a little bit more positive these days, and intentionally, like when I feel like a negative thought coming in, I'm choosing to think better thoughts. So I'm really kind of in the moment. Yeah, in the moment of changing. It's like thought changing. So I don't think I talked about that too much here, but we probably need to talk about it sometimes about thought changing.
Yeah. Okay.
I like that.
Well, before we get any further into this, if you have not already done so, please like, share, subscribe, do something, but do not keep this show for yourself.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Well,
I don't know if you said that we cuss, but I'm gonna say it. We cuss on these episodes.
I know. I've seen it. And I know how Lori get down anyway, so.
Right. That's my fault, y'all. I don't know why I did not give the warning shot.
That's all right. That's all right. We do.
If you have been here before, you know that we cuss.
Exactly.
And if you are new here, you're going to have to get used to it.
Yeah. Okay. Or you might go to another episode or a podcast that,
do whatever you have to do with it. Right. But we are going to be here cussing.
Right.
All day.
Well, so how do the two of you know each other? Like, this is a brand new situation for me. This is not somebody that I know. So, Sway, how do you know Lori? Lori, how do you know Sway?
Cool. Well, Sway, I'm going to let you jump in there. Yeah.
Okay, cool beans. Yep, Lori is my amazing therapist.
Okay.
I met her, I want to say, over a year ago. I want to say I've been going to Lori for a little over a year. Right, Lori?
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think, 2 years in July.
Okay. Oh, yeah, we're approaching 2 years. Yep. So I did family counseling with Lori. I did couples therapy and individual therapy. I still currently do individual and couples. So, yep, my partner found Lori online, and we literally fell in love with her landing page, the website.
Yes.
And then, especially when we met her in person, we've been in love ever since. Super amazing person.
So you had the same reaction that I had to having her as a therapist. You were like, this is it. This is what we're supposed to be doing. I had the moment of like, is this what therapy was supposed to be this whole time and no one was telling me? Okay.
No, I feel you.
She's just one of a kind. Like I know a lot of therapists, but I don't know a lot of therapists that are like Lori, that are like, let me tell your ass something.
Exactly.
Lori will gather you quickly.
Exactly. And sometimes we need to receive it that way. So that's what I love about Lori. She gonna keep it real and say it exactly how it needs to be said, to be honest with you. So
yes. Well, all right. Well, Lori, I'm gonna let you head up with the first set of questions for this breakthrough.
Yeah. Well, I wanted Sway to come on because Sway, to me, is a powerhouse in our community. And she gives back. She's a go-getter. She tries really hard to, just promote goodness in the community, right? And she has what you call Encore Salon suites.
Yeah.
and it's doing phenomenal. I love it, and I want her to tell us about it. But also, she wants to have a good family unit. She loves her family. She loves her relationships. She loves herself.
I love it.
And I appreciate that because not many people are dedicated and, really want a healthy family. They kind of say it, but their
Mhm.
actions don't show it, right?
Right.
And
Right.
so when Sway came to me, she and her partner, um, I tell them all the time when I saw them, I think they were just coming off the elevator, and I was like, man, they they just they just connect. You could see their connection. It's
Okay.
you could feel the connection. And just a sweet couple. And
Okay.
I
Thank you.
wanted to talk to her about how she decided to do coaching, right? Like what that was for her and how it's helped her in her personal life, right? In your professional life, even
Okay.
in your spiritual life. I just want to
Hmm.
kind of just check in with you so that you can help a broader audience see
Hmm.
the importance of getting coaching, counseling, therapy, whatever you want to call it.
Absolutely. So and I wish I would have did therapy years ago, but after a while, I think I just started to realize, like, look, there probably is somebody out there that's a little bit more experienced or more knowledgeable that can coach you, because you're a
Hmm.
coach and you know
Mhm.
that you can coach and lead people. So I'm sure there's someone around you. And as I started to get a mentor and start being around more successful and happier people, if you will, or positive people, I noticed that they did have coaching, some type of coaching, whether it was a mentorship or a therapist. And I did try therapy. I share this story with you, Lori. I want to say maybe it was one individual session I did, and my partner and I, we tried a couple of sessions with another lady, and it was just not a good experience. Literally, the first lady, she felt like because I was successful that I shouldn't have any problems. And I was
Oh
looking at her
boy.
like,
Oh,
actually, I probably have more.
Yeah.
right.
But so I was just totally turned off by her response to me. She's like, "What's going on with you? I mean, sound like everything going okay. Why you need therapy?" And I'm like, "Well,
Mm,
So that kind of was turned me away.
yeah.
My partner at the time, she had an individual session. She didn't really feel like it helped her. Like I said, we went to another therapist, and it was more just kind of, I felt like she was just trying to get our money. Just next, come on, next, blah blah
Yeah.
blah. Here's some homework. It just didn't feel right. You know what I mean? I kind of regretted it. Like, dang, we just sat here and opened up to this lady for nothing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So
Mm,
we were
yeah.
a little bit discouraged, but my partner was like, we kind of had some bumps in the road, and she was like, "Look, let me just try to find another therapist." And so she did, found you. Like I said, from the beginning, your smile, everything. I said I can just feel her energy. Let's go try her out. And our first session was just, I remember when we walked out, we were so happy, like, yes,
Really?
finally.
Oh
Like we had so
wow.
much confidence, like, yes, somebody who we feel like good with, we feel comfortable. You know what I mean? We feel like they actually want to try to help us. And every session, it's funny because after we both have a session, we'll call each other like, "So how was your session with Lori?" It was great. That's all we ever say. It was
Mm.
great. Even if it was a rough session, it was still a good session. You know what I mean? Because you got something from it. And at the end of each session, you felt better. And that's the goal ultimately. But I just think Lori's just very unique, because she's super knowledgeable. Like she really does understand the mind, people, life, you know what I mean? And just life. She really gets it. And I just always feel like I take something from every session. So I'm just very thankful. I always tell Lori I'm gonna be with her forever. Um, and I always tell her she needs to get on that bigger stage and reach the masses because she truly is one of a kind.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so how it's helped me, like I mentioned, we did a family session. So I had my mother, my twin sister. I have a younger set of twin sisters,
Oh,
and
wow.
I believe that was it. Yep, it was my
Mhm.
mother, all the sisters.
Mhm.
So that was good. That was very helpful. Everyone appreciated that. We got clarity on some things, and got some weight lifted off some people in the family. So that was a great session. And I would definitely do that again. Individually, how it's helped me in every way in life, just from my love life to business, being an entrepreneur, running so many businesses, um, comes with a lot, as you can imagine. So just having
Mhm.
that balance, and I realized a lot about myself, you know what I mean? Talking to Lori, I had really high anxiety as well too, from my business experiences and just life experiences. So Lori has really helped me, which we don't even say the word anxiety in our sessions, but Lori has helped me really just reduce the anxiety, showed me how to just continue putting in that work, you know, help me understand that we're always practicing, you know what I mean? It's you're always working on and working towards your goal. And I feel like since I've been going to Lori, truly, like I feel much lighter. I feel like I'm more just peaceful and happier, because I have more control just over my thoughts and, you know, just the way I think and perceive things and everything like that. So it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made. I tell people all the time, I'm like, go to therapy. You know, it
Yes.
doesn't mean, you know, people, especially in our community, they think it means that like you're psycho and they about to go strap you up or something. It's like,
Right.
no, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Even if life is great, it can be greater. It's always something we can work
Mm-hmm.
on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I always encourage people like, go, you know, even if I don't necessarily have something going on and I know our session is coming up, I'm not worried about it because I know just us engaging and her starting with what's been better, we're going to lead right into something. So I just encourage everybody to do it individually. Like I said, relationship wise, it has really helped my partner and I understand each other more and ourselves and how we are in a relationship. Um, I definitely think it made me more aware of just myself and, you know, won't get too deep, but just aware of myself and how I am and just how to be a better person to myself and to my partner. Um, you know, she shared the 4 agreements with me, which I say every time I grab a mic, I repeat that because I really believe that, you know, if you can live
Yes.
by those 4 agreements, you can live peaceful. And even when I go and speak and I talk about businesses, I always make it clear that to me, the ultimate success in life is peace and happiness. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how many businesses you have. If you got all that money and you stressed out and ready to commit suicide, it's no fun. You know what I mean? So
Right.
yeah, I don't want to,
Okay.
Yeah.
talk too long, but just
No, you're
I
fine.
feel
You're fine. Can I ask what kinds of businesses you own or run?
sure.
And how
Absolutely.
did you get
So
into having multiple like that?
sure. The name of my business is Encore Salon Suite. So I am the founder and CEO. We are approaching actually next week will be our 5-year anniversary for our first location,
Oh,
which is in
okay.
Atlanta. Yep.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. We have 4 locations, one in Atlanta, Marietta, Sandy Springs, and Woodstock.
Okay.
Um, we are salon suite. So basically, in short, it's like taking a large commercial space, breaking it down into smaller spaces, and then leasing it out to different beauty professionals, which can be like a barber, hairstylist, lash tech, makeup artist, teeth white, and all of that. So it's like real estate in the hair and the beauty industry. That's how I like to refer to it. It's compared to a traditional salon, it's less hands off because everyone's literally like their own business owner. So I'm
Right. Yeah.
literally just leasing the space to them.
Mhm.
Super lucrative. It's the newest thing in the hair and the beauty industry. It's the newest concept, salon suite. So you'll start to see them pop up everywhere. Um, I am also a franchisor, which means that I have franchised the business, similar to like a McDonald's, where anyone can own a McDonald's. Well, you have to qualify, of course, but basically, people can open an Encore Salon Suites anywhere in the world. And I literally hold their hand and give them the blueprint and everything that they need. And like I said, it can be anywhere, any state, any country. And we currently have 2 franchise locations open out of the 4. And then we have 3 on the way this year. So we signed
Okay.
3 new franchise deals. So that's kind of where my focus is now, is more on the franchise. I don't really want to own any more corporate locations, but I really love it because it's I get to help the beauty professionals, you know, be their own boss and provide opportunities for them. So
Right.
um,
That is
yep, that's pretty
huge.
much what I do. That's primarily what I do. I'm in the hair and the beauty industry. I'm also an educator, and then I have some side things going on, but primarily the hair and the beauty industry.
Yeah, I love those
That's awesome.
salon suites. My
Yeah,
loctician was
cool.
in one, so
Okay,
I
cool,
I know that
cool.
how that works, and I know that's like a really good setup for somebody
It
that's like
is.
doesn't want to be in a big salon, doesn't want to have like their
Mhm.
own salon. Just I like
Exactly.
that. That's a really good
Yep.
idea, and it's helpful to people who are just getting started or trying to
Exactly.
downsize or. So yeah, that's
Exactly.
cool. That's very
Yep.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Okay.
like it too. My first experience, I was getting my hair braided, and so I went, and I'm thinking I'm going into a salon,
Mhm.
like a regular one where all these
Okay.
people are there, and she buzzed me in. I'm like, I'm going to her apartment or some shit. Like, what's happening?
Right.
And so,
Right.
and then I walk down this corridor and I see these different people, and I'm like, this is okay. And then she
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
brought me into her place and she had the shampoo bowl, and it's just me and her and the music. I'm like, oh,
You're
I'm
right.
digging this shit. I love it. It
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
was it was so
Mm-hmm.
neat. And it was right off, I think, more Memorial Drive,
Okay.
in
Okay.
Atlanta. And I was like, this is neat. And so when I met Sway and she told me she did that, I was just so excited because I'm like, we need more of this,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
and we need more people to
Mm-hmm.
own,
Yeah.
so yeah.
And it's so
I,
cool
I,
too because they get to customize their suite to reflect their own style. So they really
Right.
right.
walk in and feel, beauty professionals spend so much time in there too. So for them to have the flexibility to customize it makes them feel really, really good too. So, and I did forget
Yeah.
to mention that I do teach, I have an online course where I do teach people how to start their own salon suite brand. So
Okay.
I do
That
that as
is
well.
neat. Yeah.
That's
Yep.
helpful. Yeah, because you
Yes.
turn
Hmm.
around and each one teach one at that point. Like,
Exactly.
that's
Exactly.
super helpful. How
Yep.
did
Yeah.
you land upon this as the business? Like, where did you start, and then how did you get here?
Good
Yeah.
question. So I was a master. Well, I'm still a licensed master barber stylist. But I
Okay.
kind of grew up in the hair industry. My mother did hair, and my twin sister was a braider as well. They both were actually really, really good. And it was just something I always wanted to do. I was a basketball star in high school. I went to college and for a scholarship, was a star there as well. Had the opportunity to go pro, but chose not to because of many reasons, mainly financially. It just wasn't paying enough. Um,
Mhm.
I just wanted a job in an industry where I could just be myself. And it was just something about
Yeah.
when I would walk into like a barbershop or a salon. I just like the smell of it and just the
Right.
freedom of the stylist. It's like, they got to wear what they wanted to wear. Seems like
Mhm.
they had their own schedule. And it just seemed like a great environment. So it was something that always just stuck with me, even while I was a basketball star. So when I moved to Atlanta, packed my whole family up, moved to Atlanta to initially pursue a career in the entertainment business. My twin and I, we had a music group. And so
Okay.
we did music and music videos, and we were like full time artists, open for like Jeezy and Rick Ross and things like that. Decided to switch gears again because that just was not the right industry for us. It's a lot. I'm not even gonna get into that, but it just wasn't the industry for us. So,
Oh man,
st-
you said
I
you're
was,
not gonna
like,
get into it.
hoping.
I
I
want to
was, like,
go back.
waiting.
oh, y'all want to get
I
into
know.
that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into that.
We
So
need
that's
to
you know
know.
what? Okay, that's a good one. So the main reason, honestly, so I thought I was safe by me being our manager. So I was our manager. And so
Right.
I would
Okay.
book us like really big shows and stuff like that. Right now,
Right.
everyone would talk about how the industry was just real sexualized. Like, they wanted you to, the men
Right.
wanted the women to do favors and stuff for them. So
Oh
I said, well,
wow.
let me take the lead on it. Maybe it'll kind of spare us because, I'm the tomboy and maybe they won't try it. Totally
Right.
backfired. And it was just really unfortunate because it was so many situations where it boiled down to my twin or I doing a sexual favor or having to or being asked to do a sexual favor to get a
So,
record back or
so let me ask you real quick. On a scale of 1 to 100, right? Out of 100%,
Mhm.
all those times that you wanted to get out there, right? What's the
Mhm.
percentage of you having being propositioned for favors like that?
I would say like probably 80.
Are you
I would say like 80.
serious?
Oh,
Holy
absolutely.
oh, okay.
See, and
Absolutely.
and so
And like I
people
said,
don't
I thought
even
I was exempt because of, my uh, appearance, but they didn't care at all. So it was a
Wow.
lot of
no.
that. There was literally a big artist who's still in Atlanta who's really big. Um, we had did a song with him actually that would have been pretty big had it released. And I was the one doing all the transactions, and up until it came down to picking up the track, he wanted my sister to pick it up, and I was like, "Well, why? You've been communicating with
Right.
me. Why do you want
Right.
her to pick it up?" Long story short, she went to go pick it up because we were really excited. Like, okay. He even said,
Yeah.
"Okay, don't worry about it. I pay for your day off of work. Just come pick it up." We were a little skeptical about it, but we were like, "Okay,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
just we know we're going to make a good decision." So, long story short, my sister went to pick it up. He wanted to do something sexually. She didn't do it, so we didn't get the record. And I remember my sister feeling really bad about it. I'm like, girl, fuck them. Fuck
No,
you.
Yeah.
Fuck all that. Like, we don't
no,
Yeah.
care. We're never having to do that.
Right.
no.
So it was a lot of that, Rockefeller, I had met with Rockefeller. They wanted me to wear butt pads. And, back then it was before like Younger May or any of like the tomboys were actually like big artists. So it was really
Yeah.
difficult for them to accept me in the way that I dressed. But it was still a fun experience. We loved doing the music videos and stuff like that. My twin, she's more into it than I am. So she still to this day will freestyle and write a rap and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we've talked
Okay.
about doing something for fun, but so it was a
Yeah.
lot of money into that, and
Yeah.
we didn't really get much out of it. And it was a lot of stress and just a lot of
It sounds like it would be a lot of
inappropriate.
like trauma as well, coming from like
Exactly.
people wanting
Right.
to do this to you for you to share your art with them.
Right.
Exactly.
It's like vultures have taken over that industry.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I will say, I think that now it's probably changed a little bit. A lot of women are now bigger stars now. Well,
Mhm.
nowadays you hear a lot of women rap artists that are coming out like
Mhm.
back to back to back to back now. So,
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
maybe it's not as bad. I'm
Have
not
you ever
sure,
thought
but
about coming back?
no.
No.
Mm.
Not for real. If
Okay.
it would be a situation where we just played around with a song and somehow it blew up or something. But like as
Right.
far as
Right.
purposely setting a plan to actually like become a big artist, no. Because I don't even
Yeah.
necessarily want the fame either.
Yeah.
You know what I
Mhm.
Yeah.
mean? So I like my privacy, even though I
Yeah.
have a little fame, but I don't want to be like
Yeah.
Out
super
Did you
there.
famous.
did you recognize that then, like when you kept having to be, you know, it's like a challenge, right? And then
Hmm.
did you decide that, it's not worth it? Or was it
Hmm.
that you never wanted the fame ever?
Nope, I did want it. I
Okay.
definitely did want it at some point in time, especially when I was younger. I thought it'd be pretty cool to be
Mhm.
famous.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was just kind of like it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's
Okay.
not worth the money. It's not worth the stress, the
Right.
time. Just it's none of it. None of it was worth
Yeah.
it. Well, I enjoyed again the studio sessions that my twin and I would have, but anything else,
Mhm.
everything else, definitely was not worth it.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Well, when
even
did
with
you
the
oh,
way
go ahead.
oh, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Even
No,
with
go
the
ahead.
way that, like, the power of the internet is now, being able to be more of
Exactly.
an independent artist and not having to
Yep.
go through all that, I guess you still have the hoops to get through with these producers, and the hoops to get through with distribution, and the hoops to get through, so I get I see what you mean about, like, it's not worth it, because, yes, you could do a lot on your own, but the parts where you have to interact would be the digital part.
Exactly.
That
Yeah.
makes
Exactly.
sense.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
so how okay, so we went from basketball to entertainment.
Yeah.
What was after that?
Yep. So I still had that in the back of my head. Actually, I remember when I decided not to play pro, they actually like dropped a big article about it and everything. McKinney decides to pursue entertainment career, but in the back of my head through all of this, I'm still thinking like, dang, barbershop would be pretty cool. So I was like, well, maybe I'll just open a
Wow.
barbershop. Because
Mhm.
I was just still thinking about it all the time. So when I got to Atlanta, and this is another thing I wanted to point out. I remember when I would speak to certain people about wanting to be a barber stylist, they would say, you're just gonna make cigarette money. Cigarette money was basically you make just
Whoa.
enough to go smoke out, stand
Smoke.
outside, smoke a cigarette, and go back to
Mhm.
Well,
right.
damn.
So, and listen. So this is why exposure is so important, right? Because that was true for the city that I was in. Most barbers were only
Mhm.
making cigarette money. But what I
Mhm.
Okay.
did was I did research and I started to look at barbers in Atlanta, barbers in California, and I'm like, hold on, these barbers is driving Benzes, they got big
Mm.
houses. I'm like, somewhere, in the world, barbers are making pretty good money. So I started
Right.
to tunnel in on those barbers, the very successful barbers. I'm like, well, what are they doing? You know what I mean? And so
Right.
that kept me motivated. So then again, of course, moving to Atlanta, which is almost like the mecca of like the hair and the beauty industry, and seeing
Mhm.
barbers really, really be successful.
Mhm.
Um, I said, okay, I had a pretty good job. I was working as the director of operations at a chauffeur transportation company, making like $20 an hour. It was cool. I just still felt like I didn't like going to the meetings and having to dress a certain way. It just still didn't feel all the way right. So I was like, you know
Yeah.
what? Let me just give all of this up, which I literally did. Um, Went to work at Walmart overnight while I attended barber school. and went to
Wow.
barber school because I said, let me just go ahead and just get in the industry instead of trying to own it. Let me just get some experience in it. Maybe that'll help. I
Mhm.
always said I wanted to be a barber anyway. So I went to barber school, worked overnight, which I hated that, but I just stayed motivated because I knew what my end goal was. Um, got my license. In school, I took it very serious. I was one of those barbers. Like I tell people all the time, the students are not surprised that I'm successful because I was one of those students like, come in here, let me cut you, let me cut you. The other students,
Mhm.
they want to sneak, go in the back, take smoke breaks. But I was like, look, y'all need to get all the practice while we in school because when you get out
Right.
here and try to charge people, it's gonna be a
Right.
They
different
want to see what you
reaction. So
got.
exactly. So
Right.
I was in school just cutting. I remember it was a 9-month program, and 6 months in, we hadn't even been taught a haircut yet. I went to the
Are
owner
you
of the school. I
oh,
said, what are we here for? Like, we got 3 months
Right.
left. You guys haven't even showed us a haircut. Are you guys just trying to get financial aid money? Like, just be honest.
mhm.
Um, so I went on YouTube myself and found videos on how to fade, and I would bring it to the school and literally teach them, like, hey guys, I found out how to fade. Look at this video. But I was
Mm.
just that hungry about it. So I got really, really good. I was doing designs and drawing Mickey Mouse and stuff in school.
Look at
So
Okay.
that.
literally the day I got on my first day, I remember was New Year's Eve. And I just walked right into a shop, started working, I was super booked every day, super successful. So I instantly became like a top barber in Atlanta. I did celebrity hair and everything like that. But then I happened to walk into this place that was just like really, really big. It was on, I believe, like 9th or 10th Street downtown. And it was the first time I had saw the salon suite business, except this guy
Okay.
had did it on like a larger scale. So instead
Right.
of like an individual suite, you could get a room big enough to have like 5, 10 chairs in there.
Okay.
Really big
Okay.
Okay.
rooms.
Right.
So I was like, wow, this is a pretty cool concept. They had a kitchen, they had a tattoo place, like everything you needed was there. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. So they were so big they got shut down. The city shut them down because the parking cars were literally parking on top of each other. So they
Okay.
relocated it. It was really big. They relocated, and I said, ooh, I instantly was like, let me watch them build this up. So like I literally would go to the location when they had tape on the ground, and I was just watching everything going in, just asking questions like, okay, what is that? What are you guys doing there? Okay, cool. So I was like, I'm going to move here because I just want to see how they grow it and
Mhm.
how they open it.
Right.
So I was one of the
Mhm.
first barbers to move to that location. And there he did it a little bit smaller. He didn't do it so big. So you could do like a
Mhm.
double suite or maybe like a triple suite. So I
Right.
worked in
Okay.
there, learned it. Again, I was just looking at it from a learning aspect. Like, okay, I'm just trying to see what the owner is doing,
Mhm.
and see what he's doing right and what I could do better if I was to be an owner. So that's
Right.
exactly what I was doing. Stayed in there, worked, saved up enough money, partnered with a gentleman, opened up our own, which was like literally connected to this one. The guy was pretty foul
Okay.
for doing it. But we opened, super successful. The partner and I, we just didn't get along too well. So we parted ways. And then I started the
Yeah.
Encore brand in 2017
Okay.
on
That's
my
huge.
own. And here we are today. So
Wow.
That's
When did you
awesome.
move here to Atlanta?
2008.
Okay,
Okay.
because I want the timeline to be recognized. That was less than
Yes.
9 years, right?
Mhm.
And you didn't even know how to cut hair. Like,
Right.
like that's some shit. I thought you cut hair before you went to school. You just thought of this. You were just like,
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Exactly. Because a lot of people that were at the school had already been cutting. So that
right,
was literally my first time picking up a clipper. And they were just so
Okay.
amazed at how good I became. But I was also an artist, so I could draw a little bit. So I had that art in me already.
right, right.
But yes, I've been in Atlanta for 13 years. So maybe it was
Yeah.
2005.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
wow.
real
Yeah.
quick story too about moving here that I just like to share. I always like to just share this story to motivate people. But literally, when I planned to move here, I went to my family. I said, "Look, we're going to move to Atlanta in a year. So everybody just get mentally prepared, financially prepared." So for that whole year, I saved up. 6 months before we moved, um, I started working on finding us a place to go. So I had found us a place that we could stay. Super proactive, had it locked down. Sent the lady like 3 months rent. We're all good to go. I rent the biggest U-Haul truck that they have, which I don't know why they don't require a CDL for that truck. Because I literally, like the super big one, it's crazy that they let
Right.
anybody rent it out. It's like literally a
Yes.
semi truck.
That's
So
hilarious.
listen, I crashed the semi truck when we go to pick up load the stuff on the side of a building. It's
Oh
stuck
my
like on three
God.
wheels, right? So I'm like, oh my gosh, like oh my. So long story
Oh
short,
God.
these guys put some sandbags underneath. They helped me get it down. I've damaged the truck like crazy. Damaged the store.
Oh my God.
We ain't saying nothing about it. But anyway, so we load the truck up, right? So listen to this. We load the truck up. So the night that we're literally everything's packed up, and the next morning we're planning to get up in the truck and head, right? The lady
Mhm.
who I've been talking to for 6 months calls me and says, "I'm sorry, but you guys can't move in because something happened, right?" And so I literally go outside because again, my family's in there dancing, all our other family and friends over, and we're celebrating. So I'm outside.
Okay.
I'll never forget. She's like, "You guys can't move in." I'm like, "What do you mean? I've been talking to you for 6 months. Like I'm moving my whole family. You know this was big. What do you mean?" And she's like, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry." So I'm trying to hold it in. So long story short, I called a realtor I had talked to a few months before. She told me they had this condo that was halfway done. The basement wasn't even done. I said, "I'll take it. I don't care if it's 1 bedroom, 2 bedrooms. I just need somewhere to go."
Did
So
you
I
get your
did.
money back?
I did get my money back.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. I was
I did
holding
get
my
my
Okay.
money
breath
So
on
back.
that
you
one.
thinking that too, Sylvia?
I was holding
Like,
my breath. I was
listen,
like,
I'm
wait,
Listen,
about to
she done
I'm
got
about to
swindled?
kiss. Listen, I'm about
listen.
to kiss some hands. I'm
Right.
like,
No,
look.
seriously. Luckily, she
Mm-mm.
did that because I probably would have reacted a lot differently. It still took a
Right.
minute, but
Yeah.
me, it was more like, where the hell are we about to go?
We
Like,
gonna
I'm
go,
moving.
right?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Listen, you know what I mean? Because at that time, my brother was with us, my
Mm-hmm.
sister's son. So it was six of us. So I go in. I didn't even break the news to them yet. I said, I'm going to just wait till the next morning until we leave. Next morning, we go in the truck. Somebody steals my laptop out of the truck when
Oh
we're about to
man.
leave, right? Despite all that, guess what we did? We got in that truck and still came. And it was just
Mm-hmm.
so many
Good.
signs that was like, that you could have easily been like, well, you know, it's not meant for
Right.
us to go. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
crash the
Right.
truck. We
Yeah.
got nowhere to even go.
Well,
Somebody stole the
so
laptop. Let's stay where we're comfortable. You know what I mean? But just
right,
pushing through, like,
right.
oh, I don't care.
Mm-mm.
We're gonna
How
make this
did you do it
happen.
though? Because see now, the therapist always gonna come out of me. How I'm curious to know how you push through even through those obstacles and the fact that you didn't even tell them. Like that's huge.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
how is it that you had the wherewithal to keep moving?
I think because I had put in so much work, I had put in so much work, I was like, I'm not looking back. Like, I don't
Yeah.
care if it doesn't go as planned,
Yeah.
but we're going to make it work. And I really just knew that there would be better opportunities for us. So I said, we just
Right.
got to push through, y'all. And then having my family helped a lot too. Because, maybe if I was by myself, it would have been a little different. But knowing that we were going to
Yeah.
all ride this ride together, and I
That's
knew that
so
they would be
huge.
super supportive and they wouldn't have been, disappointed in me. They know that I've been trying to make this happen. So that
Yeah.
was really the motivation behind it. Like, look, I'm ready for change, and I know if we
Yeah.
just push through. So we ended up staying in that 2 bedroom for 6 months, very
Okay.
uncomfortable. I won't even necessarily say that, maybe sleeping, but it was still good for us all to be together and just fight
Mm-hmm.
together. And then after
Right.
6 months, we were able to move into a more comfortable space. But it was a very, very big move for us moving from Michigan to Georgia and everything
Yeah.
being on my plate and with all
Yeah.
those
Right.
obstacles still just pushing through. And that's what I just tell people all the time. Just push through. You know what I mean? Like it might not go as
Yeah.
planned, but as long as you're going in the right direction, you'll eventually get to your destination. So
Have you always been in the, I guess I want to say, like a leadership role in your family, that your family's like, all right, whatever she says, we're going to like try for this? Or was it like, did you have to sell your family on this? Or was
Yeah.
your family like, okay, what should we do, Sway? How are we doing this? What does
Yeah.
Sway say? What would Sway do?
that's
Like
a great
which,
question. So I've always had a leadership role in my family. I remember when I sat them
okay.
down for this meeting, they were like, okay, let us know what we need to do. We trust you. We believe
Wow.
you.
Wow.
Definitely. There was like no
So
hesitation.
nobody wanted to stay. They were cool with
No.
the fact that oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And even in sports, I've always been like a captain. Even in school, I was homecoming queen. I was the president of my class. So I was always definitely like in a leadership role for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the most
Yeah.
part. For the most part.
So you had all these things that have always kind of gone right, gone the way.
Mhm.
Where's the hardship? Where's
Mm.
the where's the one trip up? Where's that thing that you've had to actually overcome?
Well, before you say that,
That's
you hit
okay.
that damn building was a hardship. Like,
Okay.
oh my
And then when I
God.
turned it in, I said, I wonder what they're going to charge me. And I never heard from them. So I said, well, I mean,
Probably
it
because they
was so
knew.
damaged.
They knew in their business model it was a bad idea to just let anybody drive an 18-wheeler.
Exactly. Because there were times we were going down real quick, we were going down hills on down 75 where they had little roads to the side made for trucks that lose control. They literally
Yes,
had it.
especially
Yeah.
coming out of
And runoff.
Chattanooga.
It's called a
Yes.
runoff. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
runoff. I
Did
mean,
you
I
have to
remember
run off?
flooring the brake and no, but I literally
Okay.
remember flooring the brake and not coming to a stop and literally in deep prayer. I literally felt like, I don't know if I'm a crash and die. Like I was so scared, but I
I
just held it
bet.
for my family. Like I would
Mm.
never drive this thing again. Ever. I was so mad. I was mad. Like, where's my dad? Where's the man in our life? Why am I driving this? Like, I was so frustrated, but we made it.
Okay.
Well, getting back to Sylvia's question,
Okay.
like that might have been a hardship, but
Definitely was.
what are the hard things that you were like, I guess Sylvia to say turn around or like fuck this
Yeah.
or
Well, not even that, like you said, you've had success after success, you've been leader, you've been leader, you've been leader. I'm saying, has there ever been a time where it was like, "Okay, I gotta figure this out,"
Mm-hmm.
or things have just gone. I know you talked about, like, all the sexual favors and all that nonsense in the music industry, but was there anything else that was like, "Okay, Sway, we have to take control of our life and our situation. We can't keep going down this road." Like, was that
Mm-hmm.
ever a thing?
Yeah, I feel like that happened quite often. Like even with basketball, it was like that. I feel like basketball was so structured, and I feel like our coaches were a little, I don't want to say prejudiced. They just didn't really allow me to be myself, and I would feel that. So I was like, you know
Mm,
what? It's too much. I mean, we had to climb mountains. We had to get dropped off in the woods blindfolded, find our way back. Now, some of that stuff I didn't mind, but it was just too much of like, do this, do that, too much structure. Like I was in the army, and I was like, I didn't really
oh,
choose this. So even though I was a
right.
right.
star, me walking away from that was a really, really big deal in our community, in our city, in the state. Actually, like I said, several articles. So me even having to walk away from that, like, yeah, I'm good at that, but and I know I'm going to disappoint the community and maybe my family, but I just don't want to do it. Yeah, I can go to the WNBA. I don't want to go. You know what I mean? I want to do something bigger. I want to own a WNBA team. So having to kind
Ah.
of take on that weight and disappointment or, disappointing my family and friends and the community was tough for sure. And then saying I want to be a barber where people are like, you're never going to, there's no successful barbers. No barbers make six
Right.
figures. What are
You
you
didn't even
doing?
cut hair.
I
Like
didn't
how
cut
the hell
Yeah.
hair.
you trying to be a barber? You
Well, I
Exactly.
guess
They're like, why would you switch to that?
right, but when you have vision, you don't need anybody else's buy-in. You want
Yeah.
Exactly.
everybody else's buy-in, but you don't
Mhm.
need
Exactly.
it. Your
Yeah.
vision is
Exactly.
clear enough. You're
Yeah.
gonna walk
Exactly.
this path, you're gonna do the thing, you're gonna be the
Yep.
thing that you desire to be, so it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if
Exactly.
anybody's like, "Are you crazy?"
Right.
It
Exactly.
doesn't
And
matter.
again, I did the research to expose myself to even see that it was possible, which
Right.
helped.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't actually maybe see it or have an inspiration, but I was able to actually see that on top of this, it actually is possible. I've seen it happen. So
Right.
it
Right.
Right.
supports my vision even more.
Right.
You
Yeah,
remind me of me as far as, like, Imma go down this rabbit hole, I'm gonna find all the
I know
pieces,
that's
I'm gonna
right.
find somebody that has done it because there's no need to reinvent the wheel. You know that the
Right.
thing
Mm-hmm.
is possible,
Right.
so
Mm-hmm.
it's just a matter of, like, "Well, what were the steps?" Okay, because I
Mm-hmm.
could totally see myself going, "Alright, why'd y'all put that tape on the floor? Okay, when I get my own, let me put
Listen.
the tape on the floor,
I
just."
listen,
And
I
what's your
totally
name and number?
right.
Like, seriously.
Right,
I loved
Seriously,
it.
exactly.
but literally, like every
Yes.
time I did something great, it was some hardship in the beginning.
Yeah.
You know what
Mm,
I mean? To
Yeah.
get
okay,
there, just to be honest, like literally everything. You know what I mean?
okay.
Nothing was just easy and just, I cried, stressed, had super high anxiety from opening the first Encore. You know what I mean? So, it's a lot of things that come with that. I think the key is just learning how to just respond to it and react to it, which is why I wish I would have maybe went to Lori before I opened Encore.
Right,
Um,
but you don't know what you
but
don't know.
you don't know what you don't know. So
That's
I'm
what's
happy to
up.
have her now. But yeah, definitely that first Encore experience was really, really tough. I remember crying several nights, short on money when I was trying to complete the build out. Had a business partner in the beginning. He bailed out on me
Mhm.
like literally after we signed the lease. So I, happened to then come up
Child.
with everything by myself and which was a blessing in disguise because I'm so glad like now I'm the sole owner. You know what I mean? So
Right.
Right.
um,
Right.
but yeah.
So I'm just gonna say the things that we don't know, those obstacles are like
Hmm.
little gems, right?
Hmm.
They're there to help us to see how sweet it's gonna be afterwards. but it's
Exactly.
Right.
push us just a little bit more, just pushing us just a little bit more.
Exactly.
But we don't know
Exactly.
that then, just like Sylvia said, we don't know what we don't know.
Mhm.
But
Right.
that determination, you had determination, Sylvia has determination,
Exactly.
I have
Exactly.
determination, and that's how we really attract each other, right? Like
Hmm.
attracts like, and we're really speaking to our community, the community of people who are go-getters, people who are out there who want, sometimes they get discouraged. And basically,
Hmm.
Sylvia, Sway is saying, listen, discouragement is going to come.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Embrace that shit and keep
Yeah.
Okay.
keep it moving, right? So
Hmm.
so that's what's up. Like
Yeah,
you
that's the key.
one of the things you said is you research.
Hmm.
People research, dig in, look into something. Don't just take
Hmm.
people's what they say about it. You look it up
Right.
Right.
yourself and find
Yeah.
out.
Exactly. Look it up yourself. I say that all the time. Even your parents who
Mhm.
think they know everything, and
Yes.
look it up yourself. You know what I mean? Actually read it yourself. I say that all the time. So that was definitely real key to me being where I'm at today. And I continue to do that. Always just, even being around experts, I still just like to do my own research, They could
Yeah.
Mhm.
be wrong or you could find a better answer or you just never know. But
Yeah. But
yeah.
That's awesome.
Lord, this is the perfect connection because clearly this sounds all the same.
Yes.
All the same.
Yes,
Good,
and I
good,
thought
good.
That's
about Sway. I
dope.
was like, "Oh my God, I would love for her," and I shared that with you. I was like, "I would love for you to be on our podcast because I
Mhm.
really want you to speak about how you got where you are. Like, what are the
Hmm.
steps that you took, and how did
Hmm.
coaching help you? Because even you coached yourself. So let me just say, when those things fell apart, somehow you encouraged yourself. You might not
Very true.
realize you did, but you did
Hmm.
because you would not have gone from like even again, I'm going back to that damn truck hitting that damn building.
Yeah.
Right in that moment,
That
help
could have been
came.
it.
Right,
Mhm.
but help came.
Yep.
Somebody
Yep.
was there. And it's
Hmm.
always going to be, and I'm going to say for these spiritual people, a ram in a thicket. There's always going to be help. There's always going to be
Hmm.
something there if you keep searching, if you keep reaching, if
Hmm.
you keep hoping. But if you lose hope, you'll never know what was behind that door. You will
Right.
never know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I
I love it.
appreciate your level of persistence because I really gravitate towards people that are that persistent. Like there's nothing all these hardships stack on top of each other and you're still like, shit, I'll figure it out. I got time.
Exactly. Yep.
Or there's a way or there's
Yeah.
something. Because
Exactly.
yeah, the discouragement will have you in a corner rocking back and
Right.
forth. But
Exactly.
persistence
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
Persistence
Exactly.
will let you crash into a building and still fill that truck. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Like,
Yep.
Mhm.
it's just
Mhm.
gonna be there. So I
Mhm.
appreciate
Exactly.
that. I appreciate you sharing your story with us, and I appreciate, the work that you're doing, for everybody, not just certain women, not just certain parts of the community, but for everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
And she speaks about it too. It's not like she just kind of holds it to herself.
Mhm.
She gets out, and when people ask her to speak, she does.
Okay.
Even
Cool.
schools. So she
Yep.
goes to schools and she talks to the middle school or
Yep.
elementary
I've
or
done
high school.
elementary. I've done elementary, high
Okay.
school, college. Yep.
Okay.
Right.
Well, before
So
we
Yep.
go, tell
And
everybody where
one
they can Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, just one thing real quick I wanted to say too. I wanted to share this with you, Lori, too. The book that I have, Real Lessons for Real Life. I have a book that's available on Amazon. It's called Real Lessons for Real Life, What They Don't Teach You in School. So it's basically just everything they don't teach you in school. From just self-confidence, self-love, how to speak confidently, all the way to business, how to open a business, entrepreneurship, the fact that everyone doesn't have to be an entrepreneur. If you're in trouble with your parents or in school, how to get out of that, not just sitting around, but maybe asking your parents to wash their car or something like that. So, peer pressure, dealing with negative people, anxiety, depression, all of that stuff. So, just kind of little snippets on that. And today, actually, I found out they're actually putting it in the library of my old high school.
Okay.
So, I'm really excited
nice.
about that. But
Oh my
we're working
goodness,
with
that's awesome.
my mentor to make it an actual curriculum in the school. So, I'm really, really excited about that.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
all right. I was gonna say before we wrap this up, tell the people where they can find you. Any kind of
Okay.
handle on social media, website, anything.
Awesome. So Instagram, my handle is sway, SWAY_the THEPRO. Facebook, Patrice McKinney. And my website is also actually just launched, swaythepro.com. So they can go there and see all my Salon Suite courses, the book, consultations, everything I have to offer.
Awesome.
That's
Awesome.
great, because I was going to ask you about your book, and is it better to buy it on Amazon or is it better to buy it on your website?
Amazon for now, we still don't have it integrated in the website just yet. We plan to
Okay.
do that maybe like in April, but right now it's just currently available on Amazon or like in person. I
Okay.
do have some
So,
copies with me. Yeah.
okay, cool. Say the name of the book again.
Real Lessons for Real Life, what they don't teach you in school.
Okay.
Awesome.
That's what's
All
up.
right. Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And we'll see you later.
Take care. Thanks for having me.
That's it for this week's show. I'm Lori Scott.
And I'm Sylvia Johnson. And you've been listening to What's Been Better.
A big thank you to Lagon Music Inc. for providing our music. This show is edited and produced by us, with a little help from our family and friends. We love you all.
We want to hear what's been better for you. To be a guest on the show, send us an email to questions@whatsbeenbetter.com. Or you can find us on Instagram and TikTok at What's Been Better Podcast.
Thanks for listening.